Welcome to Quays News. Coming up on today's show.
We speak to a food bank facing increasing demand as food poverty hits working professionals.
Remember the teenager who made thousands selling sweets? We've been to find out what's next in store.
And we look at the importance of psychology in professional sport.
Good afternoon, you're watching Quays News. I'm Jonathan Mitchell.
And I'm Kim Harrison.
We start with the phenomenon of food banks, the use of which has increased dramatically here and elsewhere in recent years. Organisations such as the Salford Central Food Bank are coping with a steep rise in the number of working people who need their help. Jacob Steer reports.
Single mum Catherine Lomax worked for the RAF before becoming a nurse with the NHS. Since leaving her job, she has struggled to make ends meet. I asked her if it was a difficult decision to reach out to the food bank for help.
I'm not ashamed to use the food bank. I've helped people out in the past, obviously, and if you need it, you've got to do it. You can't worry yourself sick about, where your next meal's going to come from.
It could be anything from a single mom who's escaping domestic violence to a working family who just haven't been able to make ends meet for the week.
Especially for families with quite a lot of children and a lot of expenses and outgoings, and then all of a sudden one day they're in work and the next day they're not.
Catherine is just one of many people from professional backgrounds who are turning to food banks and other organisations like it for support.
We've had a teacher in here. We've become more aware of the amount of working people who have come through our door.
Recent statistics published by the Trussell Trust show a 1,760% increase in the use of food banks across the North West. It's especially busy at the food bank at this time of year, with Christmas approaching and people's budgets being squeezed even tighter.
The increased demand goes up from clients, but also we see the generosity of the local business community and the local general public.
The food bank has seen a 70% increase in the number of emergency food parcels they've provided, and with recent cuts being announced, this number is sure to rise. Jacob Steer, Quays TV News.
Now, if you're wondering where the next Mark Zuckerberg or Mary Portas might come from, Salford University is hoping to help with the answer. The Media City campus has held its Creative Entrepreneurs event. 25 industry speakers took part in panels and debates. Students from a number of universities took advantage of the networking on offer.
Now, speaking of young entrepreneurs, Salford teenager Tommy Rose hit the headlines recently after making thousands selling sweets at school. Faced with suspension, Tommy has closed his business, but he's aiming for bigger and better things. Kobe Obasesian caught up with him to see what's next for the budding Lord Sugar.
15-year-old Tommy Rose from Salford recently hit the headlines for selling sweets and chocolate on the black market to his school friends. He was suspended from school, but propelled into a media frenzy. Tommy is a 15-year-old with a difference. Whilst his friends are busy playing football, he's busy thinking about a niche in the market or the next big thing.
In year 7, I was just selling for selling's sake, like you do, because I saw a few other people doing it. But it's for university. How am I going to get this money if I don't do this? Because there's a student loan, but I didn't want to take that because I'll be in debt. You can better yourself from university and you can learn more stuff.
Tommy defends himself against the allegations of bullying.
I've been giving stock out to the homeless, been clothing the homeless, donating some of my own clothes to the homeless, for Coffee for Craig, the boutique that's just opened.
Tommy tells me of his past school experience.
I'll put the money into a savings account, and from year 7 to year 11, just stay low, under the radar, got £14,000 now.
From selling t-shirts in Salford to Manchester, London and the world, Tommy hopes to continue his education at Oxford or Cambridge University.
I met a businessman, he was from Salford himself, started from nothing, owns a few bars and a few restaurants in America now. They're all English restaurants. He was from Earlham actually, he used to play for Salford Boys himself, and I thought, yeah, I want to be like this guy here.
He doesn't believe in relenting, he has plans to keep going. Kemi Obishason, Quays TV News, Salford.
Now, I'm sure we all remember Paddington Bear. Well, this week, our film presenter, Tom the Guru, has been to watch Paddington Bear on the big screen. Now, how was his performance, Tom?
Well, Kim, let me tell you, Unbelievably, I love this film. It was fantastic. I mean, blimey Charlie, it's a funny film. But that's not really why I like the film. I mean, first of all, we all know the plot of Paddington Bear. He's from deepest dark Peru, he loves marmalade, he moves to London with the Brown family. But the movie twist is, Nicole Kidman's an evil taxidermist and she's trying to catch him. Yeah, I know. Anyway, this film's brilliant for one reason, right? It's as middle class as a shopping trip to Waitrose, which I know sounds like a bit of a criticism. But what I mean by that is, it's like Paddington's got this really naive and traditional view of what England is like. Like, he always tips his hat to people, makes small talk about the weather. At one point he goes, "Bucketing it down, isn't it?" It's brilliant. You know, he doesn't know the rules that we do, you know, like the rules of public transport, like stare at your feet, iPod in, don't catch the eye of the person over there in case they start to talk to you. It's brilliant, that culture clash. It's so funny. Peter Capaldi's in this as well, who's obviously Doctor Who right now. He's wonderful in it. He plays the type of guy who'd like to go for a pint with Nigel Farage, you know, that sort of guy who doesn't want a bear moving in on his street in case more bears start to turn up. It's a brilliant send-up of just the England we live in now. It's wonderful. My only concern with the film is Nicole Kidman's evil taxidermist plot is a little bit bizarre, a little bit misplaced.
And what about marmalade sandwiches? Is Paddington still eating them?
He certainly is, and as Uncle Paddington says, always keep a marmalade sandwich in your hat.
Thank you ever so much, Tom. Now, Christmas is the happiest time of the year for many, but for those less fortunate, Christmas can be a struggle. But thankfully, something is being done about it. That's right, isn't it, Tom?
That's right, Kim. Q103's Mike and Chelsea have a Christmas mission. They're hoping to raise £1 million worth of toys this December for kids in Greater Manchester. I went to speak to them to find out more.
The last few years, and as ever, when you sort of start with something, you're not quite sure how the public are going to react to it. It went amazingly well the first year, and then every year that we've done it since, it's got kind of bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so we're just hoping this year that we can help more kids than ever before, and people get the message, people understand what it's all about, and it's.
Kieran Curtis has the sport today, and today it features me showing off my penalty skills. Isn't that right, Kieran?
It does, but first, some footballers people pay to watch. An opening goal from the Barwell keeper, 2-1 down in the 90th minute, and still FC United reached the first round proper of the FA Trophy last night. 2 stoppage time goals, the winner from Matthew Warwin on 95 minutes. It came 24 hours after Salford City were knocked out of the Dudson Sports Cup. Will Moorcroft was at Moor Lane.
After defeating Ashton on penalties in the last round, Salford were handed a tie with Ramsbottom United. Rammy came into the game on a run of 5 wins and set themselves on course to make it 6 when top scorer Jordan Hume put them ahead. Salford managed to pull level midway through the first half. Nicky Platt played a perfectly weighted ball through to Gareth Seddon, and with the keeper committed, Danny Webber couldn't miss the open goal in front of him. After a few hard tackles had left their mark on Salford, the frustration showed when Seddon went in hard on Asabi Abadaki. The resulting melee ended with Ramsbottom assistant manager Anthony Johnson being sent to the stands for pushing Sab Maidley to the ground, and Seddon was also given his marching orders. After the clash with Paddy, he will be suspended until the new year. It took Ramsbottom until midway through the second half to retake the lead. A Rory Delap style throw-in eventually fell to Grant Spencer at the edge of the area to slot into the far corner. He completed his brace when Salford were caught short at the back, having thrown players forward in search for an equaliser.
Now, when you think of university boat races, Oxford and Cambridge are the obvious names, but our very own rowers are in the White Rose Head race this Saturday. It's open to British unis and takes place on the River Ouse in York. We spoke to the senior men's captain to gauge the feeling ahead of the competition.
It's a tough race. I think we're the smallest university club in the northwest, so it's a tough race for us. We're essentially the underdogs, but we know we can beat a lot of the crews there. Some big teams there like University of Manchester and University of York, and they're the ones that we want to try and at least get close to. I think mainly because it's got the most competition there. We've done a few small races recently which we've been able to completely steamroll some of the competition there, and this one's a big one against some of the best unis in the region, and it's our chance to prove to ourselves whether we've improved since last year or not, and also show the other teams around in this region what we're made of.
And the best of luck from us at Quays News to the Salford rowers as they head to York on Saturday. Now, at last summer's Football World Cup, England trialled a rather unusual way of increasing their chances of victory. They hired a sports psychologist. Of course, things didn't quite go to plan, But it turns out they're not the only ones focusing on mental preparation. Our own John Mitchell swapped his suit for his boots to find out more.
Clip taken from one of Nike's World Cup adverts. The tagline, pressure shapes legends. I went to talk to a student of sports psychology in the hope of understanding the pressures that face modern athletes and how they try to overcome them.
Stop them against choking, anxiety, high level athletes, a lot of pressure. There's a lot of expected of them, so any way which you can eradicate that, I think, is important.
In football, it's all part and parcel of the modern game, whether it be a manager trying to get into another manager's head or a goalkeeper simply pointing the other way. So how do footballers cope with all the pressure? Maybe we should ask a professional.
When it comes to physical preparedness, I think you can only take it to a certain level, and I think preparing yourself mentally is probably the next step in terms of the evolution of the football player. And
so it gives your team the edge?
Yeah, a big edge, I think, yeah.
But it's not just football where sports psychology is growing in prominence. The snooker player Ronnie O'Sullivan, for example, had the services of Steve Peters, who helped guide him to 2 consecutive world titles in 2012 and 2013. So no matter which sport you follow, you better get used to people stressing the importance of mental preparation as well as physical. Jonathan Mitchell, Quays TV News.
Well, with penalties like that, you'll be in the England team in no time, won't you, John?
Well, you never know with the England national team. I fancy my chances, but I think for now I'll just stick to reporting.
I think you should as well, John. Stick to the reporting. Well, from Paddington Bears hats, and Tom, I've noticed you swapped your boots for a dashing hat as well. Really brings out the colour of your eyes there.
Well, I see you've gone for something a little more extravagant, a little colourful with the flower.
Well, it's all
maybe
for
we
a
should
good
get a
cause.
selfie later.
Oh, thanks, Sean.
But more on that to come.
And now we're about to find out if we need our hats outside today. Over to Lois Martin with the weather.
Hi, I'm at the Victorian Christmas Market at Media City, which is here all week if you want to pop along. So the rest of the week looks to remain cold and cloudy with icy conditions overnight. The afternoon is going to continue to be overcast with frosty conditions which will return overnight with a low temperature of 0 degrees Celsius. The cloud will clear around midday on Friday and sunshine will bring temperatures of 6 degrees Celsius. Looking to the weekend, it stays overcast and cold. The high temperature of 8 degrees could bring some light rain. The evenings will remain frosty with a low of -3 degrees Celsius on Saturday. Thank you very much and back to you.
Maybe next time you could stick to wearing your favourite hat and like us on #HappyHat to raise money for the Christie's Brain Tumour Research Charity. Kate Troy has a little bit more from that next week, but for now, that's all we have. That's all we got time for today, and don't forget to tune in on Tuesday.
We apologise for the technical difficulties there. We actually still have that package on the Tumour Research Charity. Kate Troy has more.
These selfies may not be ones for the family photo album, but certainly to be spread all over social media. An online campaign launched by Halifax mother Stevie Stott hopes to raise much needed funds for the Christie's Brain Tumour Research.
There's no awareness for this brain tumours. People like me are getting it, which, I mean, I want to raise awareness, obviously. I'd love it to do me some good, but I think I'm just at the wrong end of the queue. What I want it for my children. I want it for the younger people.
The launch of the Happy Hat selfie campaign is hoping to have the same results as the recent No Makeup Selfie and the Ice Bucket Challenge, raising more awareness of the charities and also generating more money to help patients beat their illnesses.
We need the same kind of funding. We need the same help. We want the same help, and we're not going to rest till we get the same help.
All you have to do is take a selfie with your favourite hat, tweet it using the hashtag #HappyHatSelfie, or post on Facebook. Nominate your friends and then donate by texting KHHS60 and the amount you'd like to donate to 70070.
That's all we have time for today. Goodbye.
you.